One of the key strategies I teach during our Enter the Leader seminars is disarming speech. Now, what is disarming speech? When I'm heading into a tough conversation, I want to make sure that what I say and do does not amp up the temperature of that tough conversation and allow it to get into a heated conflict. So disarming speech is essentially a set of verbal tactics that helps lower the other person's defenses, keeps the anxiety low, calls out potential targets, very similar to what we talked about in my last post. Essentially helps keep the situation calm and move the conversation towards collaboration. An example of disarming speech that I've used in the past and has provided quite a bit of success is starting off with telling the other person what you're not going to do. An example could be something like, I certainly don't want to question your decision. However, I would like to talk about some options that we could potentially flush out to help support X, Y, and Z. So you're not coming in guns blazing, challenging the other person's view or their approach to a situation. You're telling that's not what you're going to do, and it helps steer the conversation to perhaps some options they may not have thought of on their own. Another example could be, as leaders, we're typically trying to get people on board to a proposal or a project. Could be something like, I certainly don't want to increase the risk profile of your portfolio of projects. However, I would like to talk about how we could potentially deliver A, B, C, D. Again, fill in the blanks there. You start off letting the other person know what you're not going to do. Now, if you're both heading into a conversation that you know can potentially get quite amped, you start out telling the person what you're not going to do. Again, you call out that potential target up front and you help calm them down. So now you've basically alerted them to the fact that there's one less landmine they have to worry about in that conversation. This tactic I found also works in personal relationships. I've actually used this with my son a few times. So an example, I remember we got a call from the principal's office at a school. There was an altercation in a schoolyard. So I knew that when he was coming home from school, in his head, all he's thinking about is, what are mom and dad going to say? Am I going to get grounded? Will I ever play a video game again? He's probably quite emotional about the event and quite anxious and fearful of what the repercussions are going to be at home. So what I've started out with in the past has been something like, I certainly don't want to talk about how you're going to be punished, or I don't want to talk about grounding. I want to understand what happened. How did you and Johnny get into this fight? So I start off with right away saying, I don't want to ground you. I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. It helps calm the temperature down because, kids coming in with that amount of fear, the chances of having a clear conversation with an elementary school level child after a situation with the principal are very low. So anything you can do to basically take the targets, take the landmines or the weapons or the grenades off the table will help calm the situation and at least get you both looking at understanding and collaborating to a solution. Again, bringing back to business, this works in an office as well, not only schoolyards. Call out the targets, let them know what you're not going to do. It helps calm the conversation, and then you can start working on moving forward with what your agenda may be. If you've ever used this tactic before, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Let me know in the comment section below how that worked out for you. Thank you.